Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver
Hey guys, Bix Weir,
now.
roadrunner.com. Good moves for silver. Obviously, we'd like a lot more, and I don't really care about the price, as I've talked to many times. Then how do you judge silver if you don't judge it by price? I judge it right now by the gold-silver ratio. Our friend Jeffrey Christian gave up another little nugget. Every time he opens his mouth, he tries to talk silver down, but ends up doing the exact opposite. I'll get to that in 1 second. Silver up 50 cents, which is a decent move. It means nothing. It means the riggers are still there. I'm not real sure we'll ever see the price of silver go over $50 on the COMEX. I think the COMEX will be shut down long before that, and that's a good thing. There's no reason to do 100, probably 200 billion ounces on the COMEX. If you can include everything, there's 130 billion, I think, of this is annual trading volume on the LBMA. There's no reason for all this crazy non-physical silver to be trading back and forth and set the price. Commodity law specifically prohibits that, and we all know that the U.S. government is rogue, has no sense of what is right and wrong in markets. The rest of the world knows this as well. So yeah, place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. A great time to buy physical silver. Anything under $50 is a great time to buy for the long run. If you're looking for short term, it's still a great time to buy. The moving averages. Silver is above the moving averages, just barely broke through. But it's still a great time to buy. I mean, you want physical in your own possession. And you don't want to ever get rid of it until you're ready to buy something like a Ferrari for a old silver eagle, things like that. So get your physical silver now. Go to your local coin shop. I always say that. Why? Because those are the guys you're going to be selling your silver to when you're ready to buy something with it. Or you might not even have to go get cash for it. You'll probably just, someone's selling a car, you'll walk in there with a sack of silver coins and say, here, they'll drool on silver by then because it will be let free from the manipulation. So you can get silver from your local dealer, but if you don't have a local dealer that you trust, I like to tell people, get 2 or 3 dealers in the local area, play them off each other for a while, and then say, hey, the one you like the most and gives you the best deal, you say, hey, I'd rather do it all off you. Just continually give me a good deal so we don't have to haggle. And they do it. They will. So do that. If you don't have a local guy, Andy Scheckman's the man. He's taken care of Road to Ruta customers forever. Forever and a day. We've been working together very long time. MilesFranklin.com. If you want to know their inventory and what you can buy, send them an email. Info at Miles Franklin. If you go to our affiliates page on the Road to Ruta, has all our affiliates there, and there's Miles Franklin. Click on that, and it's info at milesfranklin.com for the best deals on silver. Make sure you tell them you came from the Road to Ruta, Bix sent you, things like that, and they're going to take really, really, really good care of you, like they take really good care of all the Road to Ruta customers who have bought silver between the last 10 years off them. I think we go back about 8 to 10 years, Andy and I. Maybe more than that. Actually, I think it's more than that because we had a discussion in Berkeley. We did a live discussion at a hotel once for one of Andy's conferences. He asked me to come by and talk about silver manipulation, which I did. I think it was before 2010. So we go back a hell of a long way, and I absolutely trust Andy and his team over there. They will take care of you. All right, let's get to silver. What's going on in silver? Besides obviously the price rigging, there's more and more signs that physical deliveries are what's killing the banking cabal. And it might not show up in price, but it does show up in data, strange data coming out of the warehouses. All the warehouses are leaking massive amounts of silver. The COMEX, it might look like silver's coming in, but remember, when you look at the COMEX warehouses, every ounce of silver is owned by somebody. And if it's investment silver, it's different than industrial silver, according to Jeffrey Christian. You're not even supposed to count investment silver. Jeff Christian says investment in silver should detract from the deficit seen in silver. I'm like, what are you talking about? I guess he forgot, and I'll show you this in a second. It's crazy. He forgot that silver is both an industrial and a monetary metal. He remembers it for gold. It's not like, oh, all the gold that's been dug up that shouldn't be counted as a deficit or anything like that. Supply and demand watch. I'm like, what are you talking about, Jeff? Are you insane? Yeah, I'm going to play it for you. All right. But here's what's going on in the COMEX. Huge EFP, exchange for physical, of 11 million ounces yesterday on Tuesday. Yeah, that's a big one. These are contracts that they pretty much can't settle on the COMEX because they don't have the silver, so they send them to London for delivery. This is a massive one. So, yes, this is where all the silver that comes out of the Western countries and goes to India and China and all that. That's where it comes from. They no longer trust the COMEX to maintain proper rules, so they have to get out of the COMEX. The volume hasn't changed, but where they take delivery really has. And Harvey Organ does a great job tracking that. And you can see every year it's over 1 billion ounces. Every single year are these EFPs, exchange for physical, that go to London to be delivered. And that's not even counting what's supposed to be delivered in London in general, which is crazy amounts, but they lie about that. But these are so this is going to jump because, let's see, 2,211 million ounces. So on this is yesterday's for Harvey Organ. He was at 6.75. This is going to jump to 18 million ounces, and which is pretty damn good since we've just begun March. February was 66. A lot of that came at the end, and January was 78 million ounces. This is a lot of silver, my friends. A lot of silver leaving the warehouse, supposedly in London, where they don't tell you exactly what's going on, but we're close. That's what you got to remember. We're close. Silver futures, really interesting here that the amount of open interest for the March contract keeps getting added to, even though they make deliveries. The deliveries are being made, but there's still 817 contracts, which is 4 million ounces. 4 million ounces to be delivered into a month that has already taken out, and I got it right here. There it is. 21.5 million ounces. So there's another 4. That'd be 25 million ounces. Will we get more than that? Will they keep coming in all month? Remember, anybody can go, well, you have to have the right connections, I guess. Go into the COMEX, have the right broker that you say, I want to buy 10 million ounces. I think they can do up to 10 million ounces. And I want to buy it and take delivery today. Now, you aren't necessarily going to get it today. They have to deliver it by the end of the month. But you can go in and do that. And that would be added to the March contract until it's delivered. So there's nobody's, it's not like you have to buy a futures contract for, 2-3 months down the line. No, you can buy a futures contract now, close it, and stand for delivery by closing it. Pay up the money right up front. People never want to pull silver, the big 1,000-ounce silver bars, out of the COMEX because of the chain of custody. Once the chain of custody breaks on these big COMEX bars, you got to be in the club to get that back into the COMEX to sell it. So a lot of them just leave it at the warehouses that are approved, which is J.P. Morgan's, and it's so ridiculously criminal. But if you want to know who's rigging the silver market, who had the shorts coming into this year, it's right here, right in the CFTC data, or the CME, the COMEX data, and the big delivers on the 21 million so far, the big delivers and the big takers. I mean, everybody else is little other than the biggest criminal institution on the planet, J.P. Morgan Chase, under customers, which is bullshit. It's just, it's shell accounts, basically. And we've seen it from J.P. Morgan so many times. I just finished the Bernie Madoff series on Netflix. I watched it again. I mean, they don't really go into J.P. Morgan, other than they said nobody was saying anything about Bernie Madoff. And, when you have billions and billions of transactions going in and out. It theoretically, it's not only Bernie Madoff, it was Jeffrey Epstein. So I'm not lying when I say that it's the number one most corrupt institution, J.P. Morgan Chase. It's in the facts. It's in the facts, and they've been busted on federal crimes. I think they're at 4 or 5 now. Mostly they just pay a fine and get away with it, which is over the past 20 years, it's over $40 billion just in fines. Imagine how much they made on that. Maybe $1 trillion. So yes, J.P. Morgan Chase, I mean, it's not like the comics doesn't know what's going on. The DOJ had to bust J.P. Morgan when Trump was in. Don't forget, Trump's probably going to get in very soon again. Is J.P. Morgan going to stand for Trump, holding a gun to their head and saying, hey, you better play ball or I'm going to bust you again. And this time it will be the RICO charges. Obviously, everybody knew it was RICO charges. The RICO charges is the conspiracy, two entities sharing data to commit a crime, working together to commit a crime. And there was about 6 or 7 banks who got busted for the exact same thing. And even in the court documents, it shows phone conversations between J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, I think it was HSBC, Wells Fargo. They're all talking together about when they're going to slam the silver price. It's insane. And that's just barely scratches the surface of what's going on. All right. Here's what I want to show you guys. Jeffrey Christian put out another try. He's desperate to stop people talking about the silver deficit now because he sees, the whole world sees massive amounts of silver disappearing into solar panels and flat screen TVs. And this is the amazing thing. Listen to this, what he says. Now, what he's trying to do is say that you're not supposed to look at monetary silver. That doesn't count. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? It's like he says they're monetary metals and then he forgets that they're monetary metals in the same instance. Listen to this.
There is an annual flow in and out. Real economies.
Hold on, I got him on fast speed. Let's just put him on normal. Yeah, it's hard for me to listen to him on normal speed, but let's check it out.
Fiscal government has a budget surplus or a deficit, mostly deficits these days. But silver does too. Now, silver and gold are interesting, and they're not commodities per se. They're financial assets.
Okay, so he starts out by saying silver and gold are not commodities; they're financial assets. Well, obviously everybody knows silver has a dual purpose as an industrial metal and a monetary metal. So let him continue to stick his foot further in his mouth.
And what you see in silver is when you look at total supply, less fabrication demand, you exclude that investment demand because investment demand does not change the form of silver.
He wants us to exclude investment demand because it doesn't change the form of silver. So that's just like saying, for gold demand, let's exclude all gold demand from central banks and from investors. And let's only look at jewelry fabrication and technology. That's the most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, in a monetary metal, of course you look at investment demand. And it should be the number one most important thing in times of financial stress, which we are right now. But Jeffrey says, hey, don't look at investment demand. That doesn't count because it can always come back into the market and be melted down into its original bar form or whatever the form was in the original. I'm like, holy crap, Jeff. So what about gold? Are you going to exclude all the investment demand and central bank purchasing of gold in your supply demand numbers? That makes no sense at all, Jeff. Here he goes. He keeps going.
If a fabrication demand, someone buys silver and they make it into electronics or solar panels or jewelry or silverware or mirrors or ball bearings or solders. And it's no longer, it's silver in a manufactured, fabricated form. And to get back at that silver, you have to refine it out of that use, if you can, and if it makes economic sense. If you're an investor and you're buying silver in bar form or coin form or medallion form, it's silver and it stays in fungible silver form. right? So you exclude investment demand from fabrication demand because you want to know what the silver bullion market looks like. And you can see here in the 60s, as the U.S. Treasury.
So he's basically saying, when you analyze, you as a silver investor, when you analyze the silver market, you don't even look at the investment demand. It means nothing to Jeff because that silver isn't transformed into something else. So I would assume he should apply the same investment analysis, metal analysis, commodity analysis, monetary analysis to gold. Exclude all the investor demand for gold. That doesn't matter. Just the industrial part of gold matters. No idiot on the planet would even say that. Yet Jeffrey Christian is trying to convince us that investment demand for monetary reasons does not count. It doesn't count. And he says it's all going to come back into the market to keep the price steady over the next 10 years. That makes no sense at all. Why do people invest in silver? As a hedge against the system falling apart? To make money? To bet on the price going up because there's not much left? Sure, everything comes back into the market at a given price. What would the price be of silver for the vast majority of the industrial metal? I mean, he gets one thing right. He talks about later, 60 billion ounces around there has been mined in history, but there's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit left. There's not that much silver left of the 60 billion, but it's all still on the planet somewhere in some form. Imagine if silver was $1 million an ounce. And this is actually in Cliff's data. It has people searching through junkyards and piles of garbage to try to find the littlest bits of silver. So I think Jeff's completely crazy, trying to say deficits aren't real because investors hold a certain amount of silver. And I think, hey, Jeff, you can't apply one logic to silver as a investment metal, as a monetary metal, and a different application versus industrial, and a different application for gold, because silver enjoys both. Sorry, Jeff. No, silver enjoys both. It's a monetary metal and an industrial metal. And by his reasoning, we should look at gold and just take out all the monetary demand for gold, which is the dumbest thing ever. So, Jeff Christian, open mouth, insert foot again. It's like every time he comes on, because he has very specific agenda in this video. And that agenda is to say, as always is agenda about silver, I'm the monetary expert. I'm the expert on silver, and here's how we see it, and here's how you should think. You should not count investment silver in the calculations of supply and demand for silver because it might come back into the market. That would mean you should not count gold investment because it might come back into the market. It's a ridiculous argument from a ridiculous human being. There you go. That's my take. Real quick, New York Community Bancorp is going down quick as of today. Now, this was on our list on the private road. We made a list of 30. It was a great list. It was done by somebody else, and I modified it so Road to Ruta people could check out which banks would be collapsing in the coming collapse because of Tier 1 capital. They don't have enough Tier 1 capital because of interest rates and many reasons, loans for different investments that are going bad, like commercial real estate, things like that. New York Community Bancorp was on that, but it was deep down the line. I mean, if you look at, let's see, where are we? It was like number 26. Number 1 and 2 went down right away. And here's I think it's about 30 or 40 of the troubled banks from last year, and we saw them disappear. But we saw only 3 at the beginning of the year when I made this chart. But there's a whole long list of others ready to go. And here's U.S. New York Community Bancorp right here. There at the time, their total underwater capital was 132%. So it's not, this is the thing about banks. They're not underwater just a little bit. they're underwater well above their total Tier 1 capital, which means they're insolvent already. And these banks were all insolvent last year. It's 10 times worse today. So we will see the banking collapse. I can't tell you what day, but it is coming. I would assume it's going to be before the election, which gives us a very short time frame. I mean, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 9 months left until D-Day, because the good guys don't want Trump to have to deal with this financial mess. They would much rather have the banking system crash on the bad guys' watch, which is right now. The Biden administration works for the deep state. We all know that. So the big crash. Now, I talked to Jenny about this. Go check out the private road to Ruta. This year, when do you see the crash going on? And really interesting discussion. The mother of all mother crashes is at the end of the year, but there's something happens in the second quarter that is substantial. And it could be, it's kind of like back when Lehman and Bear Stearns went down before the gigantic financial collapse of September 11th, as a matter of fact, in 2008. Which tells you, yes, absolutely, it was planned and executed. I did look at, in that Bernie Madoff documentary, they do talk about September 11th. He was about to go down, and then September 11th hits, and everybody is just like, all eyes are turned away from Bernie Madoff. So, and we know he was part of the cabal and all that. So that's it. That's what I got. For private road members, we are now giving away the Veritasium token. The Theta token is off and running. Amazing technology. Most road to Ruta people already have Theta, some form of Theta. I highly recommend you getting Theta. We do have a Theta page on the private road. But we are now giving away one Veritasium token, limited supply again, with every private road subscription. And Veritasium is like an insurance policy for your cryptos if you're a crypto person, because Reggie Middleton does have the patents on most of the cryptocurrencies, and the patent office has already gave him the nod that you're going to win, and they're the ones who decide it. So it's like, holy crap, he's suing Coinbase, the largest public entity that he could. I'm sure he'll go to J.P. Morgan at some point, but that you're risking your life with that. Reggie. So might want to wait to get Coinbase under your belt until you go after JP Morgan. But most of the cryptos out there, all the DeFi, most of the ones, quote, backed by gold and silver, are completely against Reggie's patent. If the United States of America wanted to do a CBDC, that would be in violation of Reggie's patent as well. And that might be why they took Reggie down, but they didn't take him out. There's still 98 million Veritasium tokens frozen by the SEC, and everything is still in limbo. They took Reggie out years ago, but everything is still in limbo. And I think after the crash, Cliff's data says the U.S. government comes to Reggie and says, oh, my God, help us out. So I do expect a complete collapse of the markets, and then trying to rejigger it using Veritasium as the control. No more, J.P. Morgan or Fidelity in between your trades, but as a peer-to-peer transaction type of exchange. We'll find out. So, yeah, I think Cliff's prediction that Veritasium goes higher than Bitcoin, that's how it comes true, which is crazy enough, right? So we're giving away one Veri token with every private road subscription. Go to roadtoruta.com. Check it out. That's all I got. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.